Now, you might watch the professional players on TV and think, how on earth do they make contact in the middle of their strings on every shot that they hit? Well, in today's video, I'm going to teach you exactly how you can track the ball properly so that you can make contact exactly in that sweet spot every single time you make contact on your ground strokes. Now, tracking the ball in tennis is one of the most important aspects of the game, especially when you're just starting out as a beginner. It's really tough to be able to track the ball and understand where the ball's going to bounce on the court and where your body needs to be in relation to the bounce in order to strike the ball at the correct height and in order to strike the ball comfortably so that you can hit the ball back over the net. And you might think to yourself, how do the pros play the way that they play? I mean, they're hitting the ball incredibly hard, they're moving around the court incredibly quickly, and it's all really due to the fact that they're able to track the ball so well. And this comes with years and years and years of experience. Just playing more and more tennis will mean that your ball tracking abilities will improve over time. So don't get discouraged if you see the pros playing, they make it look easy. Well, yes, because they're training 5 hours a day, every single day, and tracking the ball is second nature to them. And so the topic of tracking the ball is a really important one in tennis, and specifically tracking the ball onto the strings. Now, I'm sure most of you would have seen Roger Federer hitting a forehand, but when you're watching his forehand, just look at his eyes as he comes and makes contact. So it looks like he is watching the ball as he makes contact. But in fact, it's nearly impossible to actually see the point of contact where the ball makes contact with the strings because it is such a fraction of a second. However, Federer is obviously looking in that direction, in that area of contact as he makes contact with the ball. And that is a real advantage for him and his playing style because it allows him to stay completely balanced on the shot and focus in on what the racket head is doing as he makes contact. So if you struggle with poor timing and you find that you shank a lot of your ground strokes, whether that's forehand or backhand side, it could be because you are looking up as you're making contact with the ball, like this. So you could either be looking up to see what the opponent's doing or kind of just looking around that area. So this is an issue because it means that your focus isn't on the contact point or around that point of contact. And it means ultimately that you have stopped tracking the ball. And if you stop tracking the ball, then that can lead to a lot of issues such as timing and also shanking a lot of shots. So what you want to do instead is as the ball bounces, you want to watch that ball rise up to your strings. And as the ball is rising up to your strings, you then want your eyes to be around that area of contact. As I said, you don't need to perfectly look at exactly that moment of contact, but if you're looking kind of around that area as you strike the ball, then that is great. Now, there are two different types of ways to do this generally. The first way is like the Roger Federer way, like I said before. So as he comes into his forehand, he turns his head completely so that his left eye and his right eye are looking at that racket there. And he also holds that gaze a little bit longer until he follows through and then rotates around. So his head would come up kind of at around the time that his ball is travelling over the net. Whereas other players like Djokovic, for example, he doesn't turn his head completely there. He has his head more or less like this, so that for sure his right eye is looking around that area of contact, but it's more of a kind of natural flow around. So his head lifts up and rotates forward much earlier than Federer's does, for example. Now, both ways are correct, and it will take time for you to go out there and practice both different ways to see which one kind of works for you. And it will also depend on whether you're right eye dominant or left eye dominant too. So the option to look at that ball and maintain your gaze there until the ball is travelling over the net is a good option because it allows you to really stay super balanced on your shot, and it also gives you the best possibility of hitting a clean shot as much as possible. However, the downside of that technique is that keeping the head down watching could inhibit your natural body rotation. So for me, for example, I have more of a Djokovic style contact point where I have my head looking around this area and I rotate my head up much earlier. And this is because I find naturally that my upper body naturally wants to rotate around earlier, and my head wants to do the same thing. I find it a little bit too unnatural for me to stay here and then have that delayed pop up with my head. So it will take you some time to go out there and practice both techniques to see which one works for you. But the main thing is that your head is still at contact and that you are looking somewhere around this contact point here. What we don't want to be doing is coming into contact like this. So I'm looking over there or straight forward. So that was for the forehand side. Now the backhand side is a little bit different. On the backhand side, it's a little bit different because on the backhand side, naturally, we have more of a torso rotation as we hit. So this applies to all different backhand styles, the double-handed backhand, one-handed backhand, and also the slice backhand. In general, the backhand forces more of a torso rotation, and also there's a delayed rotation of your head naturally on that backhand side. So naturally on the backhand side, you should be watching that ball kind of on the string level, and your head would be turned much more to the side here. And then also there's more of a natural instinct to stay and hold that pose there and then come up later. So you can even go out on the court and experiment with this. Try and hit some backhands and open up your head early, and you'll find it feels really, really unnatural, and you'll find that you're kind of hitting the ball way over wide off the court. So how can you implement this in your game? Well, as I said, go out there and try these two different techniques and kind of experiment with yourself and see which one feels more comfortable for you. But the main thing is that you are tracking the ball like a hawk. So you should be tracking the ball right from the second it comes off of your opponent's strings over the net as it bounces and as it comes up to your string. And then when you're coming into contact, either have that more of a turned head so that both of your eyes can see that contact and delayed rotation, or have less of a closed head looking somewhere around that contact area and rotate that head up earlier naturally with your shoulder rotation. And then on the backhand side again, try and think to yourself, watch the ball and then rotate up. And like I said, give it a go where you hit some backhands with an open head earlier, and you're going to find that it's really unnatural to do. So later on, you're going to know never to lift your head up too early on that backhand side or that forehand side. So now I'm going to give you some demonstrations both on that forehand side and the backhand side for you guys to compare. Okay guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you really enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and if you did, then please give this video a like and also subscribe to my channel for more tennis related content like this one to come. Guys, if you have any comments about ball tracking or watching the contact point, then do comment down below and I'll try and get back to you. And guys, I'll see you in my next video.